Have you ever dreamt of inventing something spectacular? Have you thought about what inspired some of the greatest inventions we use every day? Big dreams and lots of experimentation are what led to some of our greatest discoveries. One of those is the hot air balloon, created by brothers Joseph and Jacques Montgolfier. Joseph and Jacques Montgolfier were born in southern France in the mid-1740s. Joseph is 5 years older than Jacques, and both boys are two of 16 children in their family. Joseph and Jacques grew up in the town of Videlon, France, which is known for its paper factories. Their father, Pierre, owned a paper factory when Joseph and Jacques were growing up. After working in their father's paper factories for some time, in 1782, Joseph and Jacques discovered that, when filled with heated air, a bag or balloon made out of lightweight paper or fabric rose into the air. With much experimentation, the brothers decided to debut their discovery with the public. On June 4, 1783, the brothers put the first crude hot air balloon into flight by burning straw and wool underneath a lightweight bag. The bag rose 3,000 feet and remained suspended for 10 minutes. Like modern-day hot air balloons, the bag traveled a distance of approximately 1.5 miles before landing. Like any good inventors, the Montgolfier brothers experimented with their invention to achieve perfection, each time increasing the difficulty and challenge. Following their first balloon launch in June, the brothers launched a second balloon in Paris in September. This was the first balloon with passengers, and for this flight, the chosen passengers were a sheep, a duck, and a rooster. The balloon traveled about 2 miles and stayed afloat for 8 minutes. All the animal passengers were safe upon landing. The brothers took an even bigger risk in November of that year. This flight was the first one with human passengers. Pilotre de Rosier and François Laurent, Marquis de Hollande, flew in this balloon, which also traveled over Paris. However, this balloon traveled for a longer time, 25 minutes, and covered about 5.5 miles of ground. The Montgolfiers' success did not end with the invention of the hot air balloon. Both brothers were honored by the French Academy of Sciences for their invention. They later made new science discoveries. Joseph developed the calorimeter, a device that measures the heat of a chemical reaction. He also invented the hydraulic ram, which uses the force of water to change the level of water in a system. Jacques invented a technique for creating vellum paper, a high-quality parchment originally made of a young animal's skin. Like many other creative individuals, the Montgolfier brothers possessed character traits of inventors. Two of those traits were that they were both ambitious and imaginative. What made them ambitious was that no other individual had previously attempted to create a hot air balloon in the way they did. They were attempting something completely new and challenging with their invention. In addition to being ambitious, the brothers were very imaginative. It took immense creativity to move from their original prototype of a thin fabric bag filled with hot air to the hot air balloons we see today. Without such imagination, they may not have been successful. The Montgolfier brothers were also adventurous. In the 1700s, it was considered very daring to attempt human flight. This is likely why the first passengers in a hot air balloon were actually animals. However, the brothers' adventurous spirits is what ultimately led to the discovery that it was safe to transport people in their balloons. Finally, the brothers were persistent. Their father's paper factory fortune is what kept their dream of creating a hot air balloon alive until they had perfected it. They did not give up on their dream until they had a fully functioning human flight balloon. Interestingly enough, not all inventions come from the work of just one inventor. In fact, the hot air balloon could have been invented almost 20 years prior to the Montgolfier brothers' first public demonstration. In 1766, Henry Cavendish, a British scientist, discovered the element hydrogen. Through experimentation, he found that hydrogen was actually lighter than air. He proposed that hydrogen-filled objects could lift into the air. However, despite his hypothesis, Cavendish never took his idea any further. Of course, this left the Montgolfier brothers with the opportunity to invent the hot air balloon. After the first few trial hot air balloon flights, human flight became very popular. Beginning in December of 1783, many groups of people from all around the world experimented with human flight. With each flight came more information about flying a hot air balloon. This improved future flights. One of the most notable flights occurred on January 7, 1785, when Jean-Pierre Blanchard and Dr. John Jeffreys decided to test out the hot air balloon over a body of water and flew across the English Channel.